YouTubers, the CNAS reality TV blogger. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Today I'm going to be reviewing Love Island Australia Season 3, Episode 25. We are unfortunately in our last week of Love Island Australia, and this season really flew by, unfortunately. So we are in our last few episodes. Of course, the episode picks up with, a 5-minute replay of what happened on Thursday, which was Lexi and Jade were eliminated. Noah, for some reason, picked Courtney over Jade. I think he picked Courtney because she brings drama and not because he necessarily likes her. I feel like he liked Jade a lot more. But with Courtney, she's great for TV. She's great for the drama, but there's no romantic connection there whatsoever. Then, of course, after the aftermath of Lexi and Jade leaving from the recoupling and being dumped, then there is a text message for a couple to go to the hideaway. And so it's so cute because Zoe and Chris, they're pointing to Mitch and Tina to go to the hideaway again. And meanwhile, Zoe and Chris, they're the only couple there that's officially boyfriend and girlfriend because they just went official earlier that day. So then, Mitch, he talks like he's the owner of the villa, and he's like, well, on behalf of me and Tina, we think you should go to the hideaway. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. And so, everybody's all excited for Zoe and Chris, and they're getting ready to go to the hideaway, and everybody is just like fawning over them. And then Zoe and Chris, they get to the hideaway and they put their robes on and they do very little talking. It is down to business. It was funny because Zoe, I think, was trying to say a final thing or something, and Chris just went to work. He did not. He was like, that's all great, but let's go. And so they showed the headboard rocking back and forth. There was just all kinds. I knew that they were just going to get it in because, they have been together for 3 weeks. Everything has kind of been building. Nothing has, really rushed or anything. There hasn't been any issues with them. Everything's kind of just been smooth sailing. And it's so cute because Chris genuinely gets nervous around Zoe as if she's completely out of his league, and it's so cute how he reacts to her is the cutest thing. So needless to say, they had an amazing night. And then we go back over to the villa where the two couples who I still don't really feel have connections, but were showing connections. Everybody decided to make out this time with the night lights, including Taku and Michaela, as well as Noah and Courtney. So we get into the morning after the night in the hideaway with Zoe and Chris, and they have some type of breakfast, and it's so cute because this is the first time I've seen in a franchise where the people, whoever the couple is that stay in the hideaway the night before, they bring back whatever is left over, whether it's fruits, whether it's snacks, whether it's pastries or breakfast. They just bring it right over to the villa for everybody else to kind of share, or whatever the leftovers of that are. And I think it's so nice and it's so cute. It felt like Zoe and Chris went over early, or maybe the other Islanders just slept in. Because when Chris and Zoe got back, there was not a peep out of anybody. Everybody was still in the bed. Everybody was knocked out, even though the lights were already on for the day and everything else. So a part of me wonders, though, if that might have been staged on purpose by the Islanders, because it was cute because they went in, Chris and Zoe, and they were trying to say, hey, we're here. And so everybody played like they were sleep or being woken out of their sleep. And so then Chris and Zoe, they lay down in the bed, and then everybody jumps on them. It was yay, or whatever. So I thought that was cute. And so then immediately after that, they heard puppies, and I thought this was a nice little twist. Instead of doing, fake babies to take care of all day, to have puppies. I thought that was a nice touch. So each couple basically had a dog, and they're responsible for the dog all day, whether to take them on a dog walk, be responsible if they have any bodily functions, to use the restroom. Just basically they're there for them for, I think, basically the duration of the day until it was time to bring them back. And so it was cute because it showed reality that, not everybody is, not everybody is an animal person, but furthermore, Michaela, she was scared of the dog that she had with Taku because it triggered her from when she was younger being chased by dogs. Even though she was chased by larger dogs, just the sight of, being around a dog and things, that really freaked her out. So I definitely can empathize with that. Being scared of animals is a real thing. And it's nothing to, discredit or be against anybody who are animal lovers, but there are genuine people who do really have that kind of a fear to where they're scared that even the littlest puppy is going to harm them, just from being chased from dogs like for so long as a kid. It's something that just stays with you and you're freaked out like anytime you see it. So it's so wild. So I totally empathize with Michaela on that one. But everybody else was really cute with their dog. They showed a lot of Jess and Aaron with their dog. And it was cute because the dog kept looking in the mirror. Like, Aaron always looks in the mirror because, he's a model or whatever. And so it was really interesting. And then Taku had like a weird accident where his dog just kind of fell in the pool. And so he like went to go get her back up and blow dry her with Chris. Like, I just love the bromance between Taku and Chris. Like, their friendship is so genuine. And I am so here for all of it. So that essentially was that with like the dog stuff. And so then afterwards, it was an awkward conversation that Hugh and Eliza had, to where basically Eliza told him that she's not feeling it, she's not interested, and just wants to be his friend or whatever. And so, I think he kind of felt away, but like, just said, okay, then it is what it is. You can't force something that's not there. I don't think Liza ever intended on liking Hugh. I think she just said whatever to just stay in the villa a little bit longer, in the hope that either they brought in a new bomb or there was another opportunity for her and Aaron to be together. And I still think when it's all said and done, I still think her and Aaron are going to end up together. They just have a very amazing connection. They're very sweet. They just really they bounce well off of one another. There's just no drama there. It's completely genuine. So then after that, they had this thing where it was the couple's hot seat. So the 6 remaining couples each had to kind of get in this hot seat. And basically that was the opportunity for other islanders to ask them questions that could be potential red flags moving forward, that could prevent their relationship from progressing. For me, I felt it was a final attempt for other couples to sabotage some of the weaker couples. So that way it could kind of steer them into, the final run of things and get out, whoever says that their, couple isn't as strong as it needs to be, that's their opportunity. The next time there's an elimination, they could just get rid of them. So Jess and Aaron were in the hot seat, and there was like some questions there because if they were still considering themselves exclusive, and Aaron kind of said, we just had that little fight, but we got over it. And then Jess is giving like these weird looks like, well, it's not just something that I just got over, but I don't want to talk about it. And so it's still like some tension there. And I don't know if they're ever going to address it or not, or if they're just going to ignore it because it's the end and they just want to, keep things on the up and up as they move into the finale. So that was interesting. It raised a few flags with a lot of the couples, like Tina and Mitch were giving weird looks. Taku was like sipping the wine, like he was sipping some tea. So that was just funny. And then Eliza and Hugh, they basically got up there and said, hey, we tried, but we just feel we're better off as friends. And sometimes that happens. And other people were saying, if they had an opportunity to be in the villa a little bit longer, then there could have been potential for something. But unfortunately, it just didn't pan out that way for them. And then they had Courtney and Noah up there. And people still are skeptical of Courtney and Noah. And they asked Courtney if she would slide into Nick's DMs or talk to Nick after the show, if the feelings were really genuine about Noah or if she's still all about Nick. She claims she's all about Noah. I do not believe her. I think for sure the second she is out of the villa, her and Nick are going to get it popping. I think, honestly, what happens these last weeks on these shows, a lot of these friendship couples, the producers sometimes you could tell, they just tell them, hey, can you increase the PDA some so people can, think like you're a real couple or whatever. But these are people, obviously, who are more so friends than they are in that stage of romance. So, but they will make out and, make it look like it's a little bit more than what it is, just so that it can kind of sell the little couple narrative or whatever, since it's just like the last few days in the villa. So that was that. I mean, and then, of course, Michaela and Taku, they were in the hot seat as well about, how Taku multiple times has dumped Michaela and how is this going to sustain anything. And so, basically they were saying at this point, they kind of realize that they are going to be together. However, the pace is just going to move a little bit slower, but each day they are growing closer and closer. What do I think? I think barring some type of shock, that they're not going to last, because I think Taku only reignited his interest into Michaela, one, to stay in the villa post Casa Amor when Aisha didn't want him, and two, post Jade and Eliza being the final bombs who also did not want Taku. So therefore he went back to Michaela, which I don't think is fair to Michaela, because I think she's been all in with Taku from the start. I think she was all in from watching him on TV, and she's just like obsessed with him. But I think also she knows deep down he doesn't like her as much as she likes him, but she's trying to make it work or whatever. But I don't see it for the two of them. I really wish I thought I could, but I just don't. And it shouldn't take her changing her hair to be curly for you to notice her either. Like it's just, there's just too many red flags. Like, you don't go to bed with somebody that you're, not coupled up with yet, and then you tell another woman that you like her more 5 minutes later. That's like not how you try to do things, because now you have a situation where both women are going to be kind of comparing notes and kind of seeing what's what. So that was that in terms of the major drama in the hot seat. And then they asked Mitch and Tina if they've ever said they loved each other. And so Mitch is still dancing around it because he said he's never still had a girlfriend before, let alone he doesn't even know if he, can say the L word, because he said he's never said the L word to anybody. And then I felt Tina kind of felt a way about that. So then she kind of played off of it and tried to say, well, I'm not really there yet either, but we're getting there. And I was like, yeah, you don't want to be the first person to say it. And Mitch is clearly not ready to say it. So we know for sure if he does end up saying it this week, it's probably more so influence than it is for real. So then after all of the hot seat business, they get a text message to go to the fire pit. And, of course, everybody's kind of in their feelings, because anytime you're at the fire pit, it's never really for good reasons. And so at this point, there was a text message to have Mitch and Tina and Aaron and Jess face all of the other Islanders at the fire pit. Now, this is where I got a little agitated. So the text message read that Aaron and Jess and Mitch and Tina got the most votes from Australia as who they felt were the strongest couples in the villa. Mind you, Zoe and Chris just came back from the hideaway. The day before just became boyfriend and girlfriend with like this whole elaborate scavenger hunt. And you're trying to tell me that Aaron and Jess, who's been on life support for like the past week, is a stronger couple than Zoe and Chris, who have been completely wholesome. They've been completely genuine. There's been no issues with them. Like, it was just bogus. So rumor has it that this particular vote happened 2 weeks ago when the couples got back from Casa Amor and everybody saw the reunion of Mitch and Tina and Aaron and Jess, which of course was before the wardrobe malfunction fight that happened, where Aaron almost left the show, and before Eliza got there. So they were going based off of that vote because we, the viewers, are like a week behind at least from what is actually happening in real time, which is the Islanders are already home. So, so more on that before I get back to the episode. So apparently what happened, filming got shortened, and I think I might have mentioned this in another video. Filming got shortened to 30 days because somebody in production broke protocol for COVID. So as a result, they were kind of punished to where they had to limit the filming for 30 days. So as a result of that, you see these 4 days a week episodes, and you see a lot of it kind of stretched out. And that's probably part of the reason that we see these 5-minute recaps as well, to just kind of add more footage and things to the episode. So you could tell certain things like Casa Amor didn't last as long as it probably normally would have. The heart rate challenge, we only got to see, the guys do it, which has happened, before, like on this franchise as well as the UK franchise. Hopefully, if Australia gets renewed for season 4, that they get more episodes, and they are going to have the opportunity to do the female heart rate challenge and response as well. So that's pretty much the thick of it. And then the reason that I also know that this was pre-taped in advance was because a couple of weeks ago, people had already seen Ryan out and about, and then people had already spotted some of the final dates. So they kind of had an idea who the final couples were going to be, just not necessarily who was going to win the show. But I just felt it was a little bit deceiving to the viewers because pretty much everybody's been on the underdog bandwagon of Zoe and Chris for like the past week. And to see Aaron and Jess up there, it just kind of felt like sabotage. And because then it's like once I saw them, I kind of knew who was going to go. Because if you'll remember the last elimination, it was Mitch and Tina who were pushing for Taku and Michaela to go last time. And so this time I'm thinking, okay, well, for sure, since Eliza and Hugh basically they never even got off the ground. So it's no loss there if they go. But then I knew they were going to try to get out Taku because he was a fan favorite, for a long time. But I felt his connection with Michaela is much stronger than Courtney's and Noah's. So essentially they get another text message to choose, they're going to choose 2 couples who to eliminate for the evening. And, each couple can give like one last plea as to why they should stay in the villa. And so Courtney and Zoe Chris and Zoe went first, and it was very cute because Chris, they're so humble and they're so genuine. This is why I want them to win. Chris was like, hey, we are not more important than anybody else here. We found what we were looking for in each other. And we are happy to go. If it is our time, it is our time because I found my person. And, and he said, but at the same token, I'd also like to stay, and also continue to grow, our relationship the last few days and be with you guys. And I just thought, I was like, oh my gosh, can we just hand Chris and Zoe the money? Like, what are we doing? Why is Chris and Zoe even pleading their case? Like, what is going on? And so then there was Noah and Courtney. I really didn't care about their explanation. Taku and Michaela, Taku's really trying to point out, obviously, with him and Michaela's connection, that there had been some up and downs, but over the past few days since they got back together another time, that it's really been solid, that the feelings and everything else has been really increasing and deepening for one another, to where they're really building. And then, of course, Eliza and Hugh kind of came to a place of acceptance that they were likely one of the couples who were going to be eliminated, since they're essentially a friendship couple at this point. So then Jess and Aaron and Mitch and Tina, they all deliberate at once over all of the couples and basically agree that, Chris and Zoe, they're not going anywhere. Then I had an issue with, how they decided on who was going to be eliminated, because they pretty much, obviously confirmed that Eliza and he would be one of the couples to go. But their rationale for who they kept, they were saying basically they wanted the couple who was all in on each other, which, if you're going based off of the couple who is all in on each other, that technically would be Taku and Michaela. Like, their heads aren't turning for anybody else at this point, but Courtney's head can easily turn. And Noah's head basically turned until Courtney essentially kidnapped Noah to make sure that he chose her, so that he couldn't spend any more time getting to know Jade. And here we are. And so even Aaron said, because Aaron does not see it for Courtney, they butt heads and everything else. And he even said in his confessional that he doesn't even think that Courtney is genuine with Noah, but, did what she needed to do so that they could, so she could secure her spot to still stay. And so, I felt had Chris and Zoe been in on that deliberation, then the outcome would be different. So ultimately, they get back from deliberation. They say that they're all locked in. They say that, Aaron and Jess announced the first couple that's going to be eliminated. It's going to be Eliza and Hugh. And then Tina and Mitch, they give their little announcement and try to basically say that they chose the couple who they wanted, to be all in on each other, which, if you're going based off of that logic, Zoe and Courtney should be going, but unfortunately it was Taku and Michaela. And so they're just doing all this stuff like, oh, the villa's not going to be the same and blah, blah, blah. And I was so mad. I was so upset. And then I started to have tears, because then I saw Chris and Taku and I was like, no, not this bromance ending. They have the strongest bond in here. Like, what is going on? So I was just too through. Chris was completely devastated, because that's Taku's his BFF. And it was so nice because he had pulled him to the side and basically said, I've learned so much from you. Thank you so much. You've taught me so many things, brought out so many amazing more qualities of myself. And he reminds me, it's so funny because I feel like Taku and Zoe, they're like identical in the sense that everybody loves them. Nobody has anything bad to say about them. They both have this energy about them, this live, living your life to the fullest. Anytime they're around people, they just bring a positive mood. They bring out the best qualities in other people. Because, for instance, I think Zoe's best friends with Aaron, I want to say, and I remember the first week I wanted Aaron gone. But then I got to see more of Aaron, and then I liked him. And then I saw that Aaron and Zoe kind of had a bestie thing happening. And I'm like, well, if she's besties with Aaron, then there clearly is a different Aaron that we are not seeing on the screen. And then we kind of got to see glimpses of who the real Aaron was as the whole fight with Jessica happened. Then we saw, who Aaron really was about and became sympathetic to him. But I just felt like somebody like Taku, who was voted consistently as Australia's favorite, to just go out like this, I just felt that wasn't fair. And again, this is the only thing I say for future seasons. And this goes across the board for all franchises. Like, why do we vote? And why are our votes taking weeks on weeks to be implemented when 2 weeks can be a lifetime in Love Island world? And as you can see, 2 weeks definitely significantly changed the trajectory of couples, because 2 weeks ago, we were barely even seeing Zoe and Chris. This was before even Zoe and Chris even got a date. So we barely even knew what the extent of their relationship was really going to be, or whether or not either one of them had returned, because they were still a fairly new couple at that point. So for them to not incorporate a more recent vote is a little I can't find the logic. Like, I understand filming got cut short, but you're seeing how social media is reacting to everything, and you don't think for a second that people might have a change of heart on Jess after the Hot Mess Express just completely imploded with Aaron. Like, you don't think people have a different opinion on Jess, that people still think her and Aaron are a strong couple? Like, yes, couples go through things, but her reaction was completely over the top, to the point that Aaron wanted to quit the show. So that's not a strong couple. That's not a stable couple. Like, that is a couple that needs to work on some issues, primarily communication and how they handle problems. And so that's where my beef is ultimately. And I feel like if we're going off of based of today's episode, that is basically a shoo-in for Mitch and Tina to win no matter what. And I don't think that that's necessarily fair, because I feel like Chloe and not Chloe. Why do I keep getting these people's names? Oh man. That's because the shows aren't on as much anymore, and it's ending. Australia. Zoe and Chris, I feel, deserve to be the winners. I feel if we wanted to say a winner who represented season 3 of Love Island Australia, I felt the genuineness, the wholesomeness of what Zoe and Chris bring to this show, of what people look for when they're looking for a couple to root for that embodies what Love Island is. I feel it is Zoe and Chris. I like Tina and Mitch, but I've seen some snaky things from both of them, just in terms of how intimidated they can be by certain other islanders that are more popular than them. And I just didn't feel it was necessary to sabotage Taku twice now, when considering he likely wasn't going to win anyways, because his relationship with Michaela wasn't even on the same level as Tina and Mitch anyways, nor was it on the same level as Chris and Zoe for that matter. So I don't even understand what there was to feel threatened by, because he wasn't going to have the votes to win. Like, yeah, he was popular, but people were going to vote, either Zoe and Chris or Tina and Mitch. So it just, for them to just be gone over Courtney and Noah is just it just like has me so bothered, because this could have went in a completely different direction. It did not have to go that way. And I just think it was just complete sabotage. It was complete nonsense. It really was. Like, I don't know if people are scared to eliminate Courtney, not named Aaron, but people need to buck up. And I honestly feel that if Chris was there, Chris could have been the person who would have saved Taku more than anything. So yeah, that really has me bothered. So the preview for tomorrow's episode are the final dates. And as I said a little while ago, it was spoiled, the final dates, because it had Aaron and a blonde on the waterfall 2 weeks ago, but we didn't know whether or not it was Jess, because at the time that those photos leaked, that was right when the fight happened, and we had no clue as far as, the aftermath of the fight, if Aaron and Jess were going to stay together, if the blonde potentially was going to be Eliza, if there was like a new blonde coming, because we couldn't make out the faces. So now we have confirmation that it was indeed Jess that's there for the final date with Aaron. And then it looks like Chris and Zoe, they're going some type of horseback riding on the beach. And then Mitch and Tina, they're getting like the winning couple date. Like they do this every season on all of the franchises. The couple that they want to win or that they're editing to, give that winner's edit to, they give them, the big date with the helicopter ride and the whole nine. That's usually the couple that production and everybody is like pushing to win, is whoever gets the helicopter date, because that's the one that they're throwing out all the stops. But I did like the horseback riding date, at least of what they showed in the preview with Zoe and Chris, because it really seemed kind of true to who they are in terms of just something nice and intimate and everything else. And then it had Courtney and Noah, of course, on a date, but I didn't really care about their date because I'm just like, Courtney's not into this guy. I don't care how much she tries to make out with him these past couple of episodes. Like, I just don't see it. I just think, she just amped it up because she had to, because she was exposed for not really being into him like that. And then one other cute thing before back to the hideaway with Chris and Zoe. So eventually they got to asking, and it was kind of edited weird, but it kind of they finally got around to like the guys asking Chris how the hideaway was, and then the girls asking Zoe how the hideaway was. And so Chris was like, the hideaway was, very nice and special. He was like, I didn't do too much talking, but it was nice. And I was like, Chris, you savage. And then Zoe, it was so cute, and she was just like, yeah, it was really nice. And she's like, yeah, there's a mirror on the headboard. And I'm like, well, who's noticing the mirror on the headboard unless you're getting into some other action? And so then like all the girls are like, so what did you do? Did you sit on anything? And she's like, oh yeah, I sat on it. And they're like, oh my gosh. And so everybody is just like freaking out. So yeah, that's on that. But I think Zoe and Chris are the cutest thing. And I really hope they win in spite of all of the shenanigans. The one thing that I thought was a possibility as well is, since filming has already taken place, is basically already done, and we're like a week or possibly even 2 weeks behind, is one thing I thought of a possible scenario is if they do have a final vote that they, come down on tomorrow and say, for Tuesday and Wednesday, we want you to vote on the top 3 couples who you want to win. The one thing I thought about is they possibly filmed 3 different outcomes of who the winner could potentially be, to try to make it correspond with the recent Australia vote. That was one potential thing that I thought of, but the only thing I don't like about that is it's not a genuine reaction, whoever the true winner is, because essentially everybody is going to pretend to be excited that they just won 50 grand, and potentially it's going to be shattering as you're watching back the episode with your family and you're not the winner. So that would kind of suck. Whereas the other franchises, for the most part, I think UK's are live. The UK ones are usually live. US is not live. However, basically they film it that night. Like whatever the last day is that they take the US votes, they film it basically that night or like the following day usually. So it's pretty close to when voting wrapped, that they then film that finale. But with all of the weirdness going on this season with Australia, I feel like they've already filmed everything, and I feel like it's a strong possibility that they may have filmed 3 different outcomes in terms of who could potentially be the winner. And I'm going to assume that Mitch and Tina were like top 2 in all 3 of those scenarios. Either... I don't see a situation where Aaron and Jess are going to win. However, I feel like at this point, unless they let Australia vote, Tuesday and Wednesday that Mitch and Tina are likely to win, because there hasn't been an opportunity yet for the public to vote for Zoe and Chris. So hopefully, like, next season, if Australia's renewed, we can get some more episodes and get some more things happening as well. So that is all that I have. Please let me know your guys' thoughts. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Very, very soon.